All right. Good-looking group. Well-dressed. Attractive. You're welcome. You don't need me. I'm going home. That's it. I'm done with this. We've got 60 minutes. 60 minutes to spend together, you and I. And my goal is real simple. I want to make this the best presentation that I've ever done in my life. That's my goal. Good deal? Okay. You don't want to waste 60 minutes, right? With that in mind, I'm going to do this for you. I will give you everything I've got. I want to leave here 60 minutes from now sharing with you strategies for success professionally, a little bit of technique, and also talk to you as people on the personal level, what it takes to be successful in this business and probably in life in general. But to do that, we have to make a deal. We have to make a little oral contract, and here's how it goes. I'll work for you if, in fact, you give me your word that you'll take at least one thing and use it. Can I get a yes? Can I get a bigger yes? Yes! Yes! I hate those speak. Good morning. I can't hear you. Somebody shoot them for me, would you please? Thank you. You right? You too, right. I can't hear you. So I'm going to talk to you from a couple different sides of you as people today. Number one, everybody here is in the business. I started as a consultant, as a sales trainer, a coach. Anybody here see the movie Wolf of Wall Street? Right? Those were my peeps. If you go see the movie's a little off color, so it's hard to really recommend it, but from the podium at least. But these are penny stock guys, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth in, almost that to the day. It opens up October 19th, 1987. I started about October 22nd, 1987. I'd never even been on Wall Street before. I didn't know. From New York, so I'd seen Wall Street, but I never was in a door on Wall Street, right? And the fact was, I got very excited by the fact that those folks who were there really took this thing about sales very seriously, that they took it as an art form and a science, and they created success. And I personally watched it happen. I'd see these young kids from Brooklyn who were selling pizza, and at that time I think minimum wage was about $2.50 an hour, and 6 months, 9 months later they were making $500,000 a year. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is pretty amazing stuff. And it was all through learning sales strategies, learning sales techniques. And, the attrition rate in this business is, anybody know what it is? First year, the number of people who make it past the first year. Does anybody know? 20%. So how many here are less than a year? Okay. All right. So listen up, Jason. Your life depends on my presentation today. I want to encourage you, if you're new, to take what I have and I'm presenting here seriously. Unfortunately, when I started way back then in the business, sales had a much higher elevated viewpoint in the business. Today it's got more technical. The whole world's gotten more technical, obviously. And there's less sales training of the kind and sales ideas and sales concepts that I'll be sharing with you today. I'll let you know right now, I can't stay too late, and I'll mention this for about 60 seconds later. If you do like some of this stuff, and I encourage you, even if it's not my stuff, obviously I'd rather you buy my stuff than other people's, but grab onto these books and audios and videos. If you want to grow your business, it's interesting. The ones who really make it are the ones who take this stuff seriously. So the other point about taking it seriously is NAIFA. Anybody know the stat on NAIFA members? How much more NAIFA members make than other folks? Active NAIFA members make 40% more than non-NAIFA members. Yeah, and I think this should be like on every NAIFA literature. I think it should be broadcast because this is an amazing association. If you're new, I really suggest to you that there's more wisdom sitting in front of me than standing in front of you right now. And if you can tap that information, if you can create those relationships, if you could mentor with the people in this room, your business will skyrocket. And that's the way, back in the old days, as my kids would say, the prehistoric days, that's kind of the way we did it. We found guys that were good, and we trailed them, we bought them lunch, and we just wanted to see how they did it and how they talked and how they moved and how they operated. And then we kind of did the same in our own way. And that's what's in this room here. So if you're a kind of passive member of NAIFA, or if you're just new to the business and not even a member yet, you're coming here as a guest, please get engaged in this association. It's been great for me. I'm here to serve NAIFA and obviously give back to some of what I get from NAIFA, which has been tremendous connections and tremendous opportunities just from being here and speaking at these events. So with that said, let's get into some material. I'm going to talk to you as insurance and financial professionals, but I'm also going to speak to you today as small business owners. And as a small business owner myself, whether you work for a guardian or you work for an independent or wherever you work, you're still working your own business. My dad was a salesman. He was an interesting character, and he died 83 years old on the way to a sales call. You got to love it, right? Pulls over and the car blows up. We don't even know what happened, right? I could just picture, as they're shutting the coffin, I could have closed one more sale. One more, I was this close. Damn. Oh, and he would have been pissed, you know. And he used to say to me things like, son, if you learn how to sell, you'll never worry about making a living. And I was in the music, in and out of the music business. I still own a small record label. And the fact was, he was right. If you learn how to sell, you never have to worry about making a living. The other thing is, say, when you sell, and when you sell insurance or financial, you're in business for yourself. The other thing he would say to me is, son, never take a salary. They never take a salary. If they offer you a salary, take the job. And it's funny because I've never really worked for anybody. You know, I've always, I kind of took that advice. I figured as long as I'm going to work for a jerk, it might as well be me, right? That was my, it's real simple, right? So I've always been self-employed like most of you here. And again, whether you're with a large carrier or you're on your own or whatever the case may be, we're really on our own here today. So that being said, I want to throw a figure up on the board just to reflect on. What's my markers here? This was in the Wall Street Journal, 86%. And the number was the amount of people right now that are looking for a second opinion about their finances, about their insurance, about their financial state. 86% of the folks out there are looking to speak to you. So what does that mean if you've been in the business for a while? That 86%. Tons of prospects all around us. What else does 86% are looking for a second opinion? Your clients are looking for it. Exactly. Now, some of you, and I just did a survey at a speech yesterday, and there were about probably 20% in the room who lost somebody over the last year or so. And sometimes it's generational, different issues come up, but the fact is it's opportunity, it's also threat. I'm going to talk a little bit about the high net worth market, and you can substitute. You don't have to get hung up on the verbiage here. The idea that some clients are worth more than others. It takes the same effort to sell a button as it does the whole suit. Sell the whole suit, you make a lot more money. So I'm going to talk about more valuable clients. I call them high net worth, but you can just substitute for yourself high value clients. Cerulli's study done a couple of years ago, but I think it hasn't changed that much. It may have actually gotten a little bit worse. High net worth investors are increasing the number of advisors they're working with. 16% had 4 or more in 2008. 64% are working with at least 4. In the past 12 months, 44% of the high net worth households change their primary advisor. So we want to begin to think, what does it take to do that? My material and what I've built my career on is a simple concept. And the concept goes like this. When the relationship is good, business is good. Business is created. And so when we focus on a relationship, on initiating and maximizing and retaining relationships, we build a career. We build clients, not customers. So it's always the focus on the relationship, because one of the things that's happened since 1987 is that we have a commoditized marketplace. And what does that mean? That means everybody can get the same products from a million places, including Schwab, including the internet, including eSurance, including all these different sources. So what becomes the differentiating factor if the products are the same? You, your relationship, exactly. You and your relationship. And so what I was sort of the forefront on was this concept of relationship selling or consultative selling, getting into the relationship, because the fact is that's what's going to create your true independence in this business today and retain clients. So we need to look at that in a little more detail. Let's look at relationships for you personally right now. If you take out your pens, I need you to work for me, so I'll work for you. There's some beautiful Gold Coast pads here. And on the pad, I'd like you to write 3 names. I want you to write the names of your 3 best clients, the ones who, when you say to yourself, if all of my clients were like these 3, what a wonderful world it would be for me personally. So write down, and vendors, by the way, I suggest you do these exercises too. You know, I work with the wholesalers and the vendors in this room too, so do the exercise. I want you to write down your 3 best clients, the ones that you absolutely adore, and the ones that you would call your best clients. Put their names down. Now, looking at those names, I want you to kind of visualize them, put them in your mind's eye, and ask yourself, if all of my clients were like these 3 clients, as Louis Armstrong would say, what a wonderful world it would be, what would that look like? What would be the benefits to having all of your clients like those 3? What would be the benefit to you on a professional level? What would be the benefit to you on a personal level? So write down 3 or 4 benefit words for you. What would it mean to you? And if you're new, you might have 1, but, well, you got 3. Good. Okay. And let's do a little survey here of, and circle the one that's most important to you. Out of 3 or 4, say, this is one's most important to me. Circle that one. And I'm going to just call in a couple people and see. We'll throw out some benefits to having clients just like those 3. So, yes?
They only call me when they have referrals.
They call you when they have, so they don't call to complain or be a pain in the neck. Right, good. What else? So referral generation. What else? Let's throw a whole bunch out here. Yes? You'd have a lot more time because? Right. So you have less back office headaches, less details, more lucrative. I like this group. What else? What else? Retention. Why do you say that? Why would retention not be a word when you look at those names? How would you describe that relationship beyond client? How else could you describe it? Faithful. Friend? Yeah. So associate. People you can depend on. And vice versa. Right? So it maybe goes beyond, if you know their kids, they know your kids. It's more of almost like family in a sense, right? Family or friends. Socialize with them. What else? Yeah. They trust you and take your advice. And when they trust you and take your advice, what does that mean to you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have a couple of great benefits here. First of all, we have referrals. We have much more money. We have friendship. They trust you, makes life easier, less stress. So we got some tremendous advantages, and these are no small advantages. In fact, I just want to focus on one of them, that friendship issue. Look, as you get older, you understand a few things, and we're all getting older, whether you think it's going to happen or not. It's going to happen. Trust me. I always tell my kids, if you're lucky, you get to be old. Been in the business a while? How many years, Bill? 21. I can tell by your hairline. I used to have an afro. I'm not kidding. No, I'm serious. With the pick and the whole deal. I mean it. Walked around with the pick. What happened? What the hell happened? My hair is senile. It grows out of my nose and my ears now. It lost its way. It just forgot where it has to go. I walk into my barber, he starts cutting my eyebrows. What the hell is that about? And anyway, you realize certain things, that life is truly finite, and that relationships really determine the quality of our life. And we spend more time, especially in the early years of the business, at work, not 8-hour days, 9-hour days, 10-hour days. You're spending more time with your clients than you are with your family and friends and the people you love the most. True or false? True. So if your clients are a bunch of clowns, you're spending your life with clowns and people that don't make you feel good. So this is an important issue here. Besides the fact, let's talk about the number 1 and 2. This is where the people that you don't have to ask for referrals. And if you ask for referrals, there's no discomfort. Hey, have you ever seen anybody? It comes out naturally. You don't have to think twice about it. And money, 80% of your income comes from those 20% that are just like those 3 that you wrote. I'll say it again. 80% of your income comes from the 20% of your best clients. So the game is real simple. You're good enough to get 3 that you really like, yes? What's the obstacle to getting all of them like that? Because you were good enough to get 3 that were pretty good, right? Yeah. Those are the ones you wake up, you think about them. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. How come all of them aren't? What's the obstacle? Why can't you have all of them like those 3? Because how much more money would you make if all of them were like those 3? Anybody know the multiple? 4 times, exactly. Because it's 80-20. So whatever your income now is, multiply it times 4. If all were like that. Everybody getting this? So, and you were good enough to get 3. How come all of them aren't like those 3? No right or wrong answer here. Different personality types, right? There was a book years ago by Jack Carew, one of the old-time sales trainers, and he said, the name of his book was You Can Sell Anybody. Great title for a book, not true, Jack. Okay, you can't sell anybody. You sell certain types of people, right? A certain kind of person. You walk at a party, and somebody says, I want to introduce you, and they're walking up, and you say to yourself something like, he's mine. That's the one. Everybody know what I'm talking? Some of you know what I'm talking about right now? Do you feel that? You feel an ease with that? Yes, Adam? Yeah. Now, if I said that to a room full of accountants, they wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about right now. But you get what I'm talking about. That's 2. What else? Why else aren't they all like those 3? And you might have 5 or 10 or 20 like that, but why aren't they all like those 3? Obstacle. Which one? Your income or their income or their, right, but why didn't you get all of your clients like those three? Why do you have some clients that don't provide a lot of income, don't give you referrals, you don't feel like good about working with them? Why do you have those other ones? Yes, anybody? They weren't trained. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, you know, there are no professional buyers of financial products. You know, we're the professional salespeople, so it's kind of on us. Yeah. So that's right. That's what I mean. We have to, because they don't know how to do it, and it's true. And it's very what you said is actually pretty amazingly true. So we have to help them through the process. The fact is, the other ones fill up a lot of space. They fill up a lot of time. They're not that lucrative. They don't feel good. They add stress. And if I'm going to give you, I'd say I'm going to give you some tips here today, more strategic. I'm going to breeze through some tactical things because we just don't have time. If you did one thing today, if you made a commitment for that one thing that I asked you to a couple of minutes ago, here's the one thing. Start saying no. Start saying no. And even if you don't say no, I want you to have an attitude of no. And start turning away business. And even if you don't turn away business, become willing to turn away business. Could you do that for me, Helen? Could you do that? Absolutely. Could you do that? Because what happens when you say no or you create an attitude of saying no? What happens? You attract what you really want. You're saying, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. And that allows the space for what you really want to fill in. Because those other ones are sucking up your energy. They're draining you. They're not lucrative. You know, Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley in the late 90s, they all did the same thing. And I'm not saying you should be like them, but they did something. They have a great machine as far as sales and marketing. They said, if you bring in somebody and they have less than $250,000 in assets, you know what commission you would make as a Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley? Nothing. Zero. Because they figured it out that somebody at that level only adds weight to the machine and doesn't really bring any profit in. So they said no. They said, you can't say no? Hey, we'll say no for you, young broker, young agent. We'll teach you how to say no. We said no. No 40%, no 60%, zero. So why shouldn't we run our business with that same thing? And when you say no, what happens to the way you feel? Huh? You feel good. You feel good. You feel good. In other words, they would say qualify. So here's the way we qualify. Do you qualify to do business with me? Not qualify like it's some sort of surgical thing. Do you qualify to do business with me? And learn these words. Here's some great words. Let's get together and see if we're a good fit. I love those words. And, you know, and this is something we've also lost in translation somehow over the last 5 to 10 years. It's almost vacuous. It's such a shame to find word tracks that work for us, to find the right words, to memorize those words, to use those words. I'm going to talk about this in more detail in a couple minutes, but the fact when you find those beautiful words, those elegant words, those brilliant words that work more times than they don't work, we have to learn them and memorize them and deliver them with passion. That's the secret to success. And not stumble, bumble through it. That's professionalism. And so when you hear a word, when you watch a cohort, a mentor, or somebody work who's in this room right now sitting next to you, and you hear those words, see if they fit, personalize them, naturalize them, and take them. Because they're powerful. That's our tools. These are our tools. Imagine everybody gets the same product, and 10 or 20 years later, anybody know who Jim Benson is in the room? Ex-president of AXA, ex-president of John Hancock, ex-president of Manulife, good buddy of mine, co-wrote this book, 22 Keys. Jim started off like everybody else here, selling insurance, I always say door to door. His trails today, after 20 years that he's not even in production, are still about $1 million a year. How come? Is he that smart? No. He's pretty smart, but it's not because he's that smart. It's because he learned what we're talking about here today. That's why. So if you say, let's see if we're a fit. Let's just see if we're a fit. Let's get together. I don't know if we're a fit. Let's see if we're a fit. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah, and then you say, you know, I don't know if we're, let me recommend somebody. And it's not them as a person, and it's not a personal thing. We recognize they're a good person and whoever they are. So how are we gonna put this together? The first element to creating the business that you really want is to create a compelling vision of your business. Because everything in life happens twice. Correct me if I'm wrong. First it happens here, and then it happens out there. True or false? I've said that in front of thousands of people, and nobody's ever said, that's not true, Paul. I'll say it again. Everything in life happens twice. First here, and then out there. And so we need to give more attention to that vision, to see what doesn't exist before it exists. Isn't that the most miraculous part of life, folks, isn't it? Isn't it? I can't find, I'm a songwriter, record producer, I love creativity, but to me, this is the ultimate creativity. To see something in our mind, a relationship, a business, a house, a car, a way of doing business, something, we see something, we feel something, we know it, and then it happens. Most times without us doing anything. That's the really scary part of this. I do all this stuff over here. Oh, I read your book, I did all this stuff, and then it has been fantastic, but not what you told me to do. But you had to do that to get that. That's the weird connection. You have to do this stuff to manifest that clear vision of what you want. And so I ask you to write your own story. Take a few minutes. And don't make it a big formal to-do, oh, it's ceremony, light candles, burn incense. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about scratching it out while you're having coffee in the morning with a couple bullet points. One of the things I always ask folks to do is look at somebody, find somebody who you like the model of their business. In this business, in the insurance and financial industry, there are an infinite number of models. Big agencies, small agencies, independents, working with being a captive agent, all kinds of different models. Find the model that resonates with you, the kind of business model you want. That becomes your vision. It's so easy to see what's already there. How much money do you want to be making? You know, some people don't have big eyes. They don't have big eyes. They don't, it's not a big thing to make a lot of money. Other people do, and I'm not making either one right or wrong. But to write it down, to write your story down. If you don't write your story down, who writes your story? I don't know, but it ain't my story. My story's a better story. So scratch it out. Make it a point. Get up in the morning. Everybody here is a successful person. I'm speaking to some of the most successful people in the world right now. You may not see yourself that way, but in the bigger perspective of life and the world, we are in this room. Between your income, your IQ, your emotional intelligence, your spiritual acuity, you're ahead of much of the world. I don't want to make this, you feel like an elitist, but go travel around the world. I was just in Bali not that long ago. Average income per year in Bali is $400 a year. That's my sushi bill for the month in LA. $400. Slovakia, $4,000 a year. Czech Republic, $8,000 a year, or $6,000. We're blessed, yes? We're blessed. So our vision is unlimited, it's unfettered. That's what living in a free country affords us. We can vision things that other countries, it's hard for them to even get a vision of. And when you don't vision, you're denying your greatest absolute opportunity in your life, which is to create your own circumstances. That's true freedom. That's the ultimate freedom. Right? You see what I'm saying? So I want to encourage you to do this. And what should that vision entail? Let's talk about it. First of all, it should be lucrative relationships. Advisors, and don't get hung up on the number of people here, and don't get hung up on the model of high net worth, but get hung up on the metaphor that less is better than more, to your point. That 42 clients creates a lot more income than 172. And I've seen advisors with 4,000 clients. Scary stuff. Big, overloaded operational things that are not worth living. 3 markets: the mass market, the super affluent, and the affluent. The fact is 3% of all the households control 40% of all the investable assets. Again, if you're insurance-based, that's fine too. It still represents the kind of people you want to sell the bigger policies to, the second to die, and so on and so forth. The markets are the self-employed, salespeople, corporate executives, entrepreneurs, retirees, divorced women, widows, inheritors, artists and entertainers, and professional athletes. And if you look at your 3 names, you may see some of those groups up there. You have your 3 names? Are you thinking of them? Are they on that list? Yes? Anybody see some of the groups up there that are on your list? Yeah? Self-employed. So we begin to see that if we're truly relationship-oriented, if what I said to you made sense a little bit earlier, then we have to begin to say, well, what kinds of relationships do I want? What do they look like? And to that point, I say create a target audience design approach to your business. In other words, if you said, I deal with key corporate executives, and you put your flag down, you said, that's who I work with. Here's how long it takes to become considered an expert and in that particular target audience, 18 months. In 18 months, you would be the man, so to speak, or the woman who would be the go-to person for that particular market. In my mind, target marketing is the only kind of marketing. So I've written a bunch of books on seminars and how to do group presentations because I really believe in group presentations are powerful tools for building your business quickly or expanding your business. So I get a call and it goes like, oh, Paul, I read your book on seminars. I got your audios and they're great. I said, terrific. Who do you want to do your seminars for or group presentations? And he says, everybody. No. And he says, I said, what are you going to talk about? And he goes, everything. So we're going to rent a huge arena. I don't know what the one here in Las Vegas is. And it's going to be a very long seminar. It's going to go on for months because it's everything financial. And then I get a call that goes like this, Paul, I read your book. Terrific. I said, who do you want to do your seminars for? And she says, women. I go, great. I say, what? Oh, and she says, over 30. And I go, yeah. Who are Korean? Yeah. And Jewish. Okay. Now we've got a target market. Now laugh as you might, my two young daughters will be 30-year-old Jewish Korean women one day. And if either one of my daughters got a little flyer that said, are you a Jewish Korean woman over 30? We've got a seminar for you. Would they read it? Yep, they sure would. Likely to go to it too. And I was thinking, what are they going to serve there? Bagels, cream cheese, and kimchi. That'll be it. I said, wait a minute, that's what we ate for like 10 years, right? Who are you directing your business towards? Who do you want to specialize in? That's the challenge. And think about this, envision this, and say, it doesn't mean necessarily you turn away other business, but the fact is you create that exclusiveness, and life gets simpler. Life gets simpler. From running your business gets a lot simpler. Concept of duplicatable systems. I want to talk about this from 2 points of view. First, operationally, and second, tactically. Operationally, great story in American business, business in general, written by a guy named Ray Kroc. Anybody remember Ray Kroc, the business? McDonald's. Okay. The question is, does McDonald's make the best hamburger? No, it's questionable. It's a very questionable product. It's meat product. And that is not bread. I'm from New York. That is not bread. That's foamy white stuff. It has nothing to do with bread the way I grew up. We ate bread. We ate bread with our bread. That was not bread. So he breaks the #1 rule in business, which is to build a better mousetrap. I think Emerson said that, and there'll be the path to your door. And he creates an empire. How could that be? Because Ray Kroc figured out the issue that businesses need to face, and you need to face at some level. And you have it to some degree, but let's look at it, what would happen if you really looked at it. He figured out the problem wasn't the hamburger. The problem was the machine that produced the hamburgers and delivered the hamburgers. So when that person who was filling the French fries didn't show up for the day, maybe their drugs didn't kick in, or their drugs kicked in, one or the other, I'm not sure which. 5 minutes later, they get somebody else making the same French fries, and the beat goes on. So they figured it out. So even just taking that as a little example, when you lose an assistant, when we all have assistants in here, and you can't make it, you really can't make it big without a team, without assistants. They become your right arm. They become the most important element in your business eventually. Do you have a system for finding a new one? Just like McDonald's does. Do you have a way to do it? Can you replace them? Can the beat go on? Do you have a way to bring up people up through and get them licensed and make them junior agents or junior? You know, these are the things we have to think about. Again, I'm talking today as small business owners. So what are your systems? Do you have operational? We have, in my office, and I try not to ever talk about things that I don't do, and it's just my weird thing in my business. And I have 3-ring binders. We have a lot of them for all different things, whether you're a receptionist or whoever you are. Here's the numbers to call. I travel. If something happens with it, here's the operation things. And you know, I've had 5 employees. I have 3 employees. It varies. But the fact is that everything's in a book. Do you have those binders in your office? If you don't, you should. The second area I want to talk about is tactically. It was a while ago, and when I was married, my ex-wife said, let's go to a concert. I said, terrific, let's go to a concert. And so I went to the LA Times, and I go through the LA Times, and I see, sure enough, the Rolling Stones are coming to Dodger Stadium, right? Now, I'm going to tell you the story, but first, does anybody ever see the Stones live? Okay, usually there's a few folks. You don't have to take this as a Rolling Stone story, but take it as your favorite whoever performer. Just put them in there, whether it's Celine Dion or whoever. So I say, let's go to the concert. So I take out a bank loan and buy a couple good tickets. We get great seats. Bonnie Raitt opens up. I love Bonnie Raitt. She sings her big hits. Stones come out. Jagger's running across the outfield where the stage was set up. And I remember the quote about what he's like, because that's when it came to me. Mick Jagger is a chicken on methadone. I thought, it's exactly, he's like, running. Keith Richards, a whole nother story. You're wondering, how does he stand upright? You know, that's the big, like, how is he holding it? Because I know he shouldn't be able to stand with all the stuff he's ingested, right? Here's the main point of the story. Halfway through, actually 3/4 through the concert, lead guitar, bass player in unison, dun, 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 Da-na-na. The song is? No. I can't get no satisfaction. Now, this is an important point. Because you would think, remember when the song was a hit? Anybody know? 1963, 50 years, and this man can't get satisfaction. With all of his money and all of his connections, you would think he could get a little bit of satisfaction. Just a little bit. Can't get none. He's trying this girl, he's trying that girl, he's smoking this, he's smoking that. He can't get none. His song isn't, I got a little bit of no, he can't get none. For 50 years, the man can't get no satisfaction. Why? Because he did what I referred to earlier. He understood what his close was. I'm going to tell you what his close was. His close was as we left the stadium that night and walked to the car at about 11:30. Samantha turns to me and she says these words, "That was the best rock and roll concert I've ever seen." With the tongue coming out and the costume change and smoke going off and craziness. And it looked like it was out of control at times. You didn't know what was going on. But that was all planned. These are consummate professionals. Again, put Maroon 5, put Coldplay, put Tony Bennett, put Celine Dion, put whoever you want in there. They are consummate professionals at that level, and they take you on a journey. So when you leave that at that night, and you got the lighters lit or the iPhones lit or whatever the case, you had an experience at that concert, whatever the concert is. You understand what I'm saying? And so this is the challenge for you and for me, is to say, do I know my stuff at that level? Am I at that level to know how when I meet a prospect to take them through, as the gentleman said in the back, to teach them, to help them, to show them, to guide them through the sales process? Am I that efficient? Did you ever go buy something and it was like mercy buy? You bought it in spite of the salesperson? Go try to buy a car, you'll see what I mean. You buy it in spite of them. Or are we consummate professionals that we take people on a journey from the minute they meet us, that we know how to, and again, leaving it to be authentic, and I'm not talking about phoning it in now, and I'm not talking about any of that stuff, and I'm not talking about memorizing. I'm saying how our process is, just like the Stones. Or a good performer can start bantering. I grew up in the Catskills, and I had the privilege to see the best entertainers in the world. And I was amazed how much freedom the top guys, Sammy Davis Jr., the best of the best, nobody will ever touch him. Nobody will ever touch the man. How he would break down and start talking and everything, he could do everything and anything, but at the end you walked out and said, oh my God, that was the best. That was the best. He sang, he danced, he was funny, he played trumpet, he played drums. I mean, he just walked out and said, he took us on a journey, being totally authentic. Can we do that too? Can we do that too? And so I want you to say, where are my systems today, and where do I want to be? What's the gap? What can I do to make them even better? The idea of creating referrals, how we create referrals are very important. I'm going to touch on this simply because of time and no other reason. 58% of all businesses are referral-based. 80% of the kind of clients that you really want, those more high value, are referral-based. So here's this, again, it's more of a technique than a strategy, is that would use target marketing, painless referrals, and duplicatable systems. So I would encourage you, and I'm going to do a little variation of this today. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go through your book of business when you go back to your office today or tomorrow. I'd like you to pull out the 20% of the clients that are really significant to you. And slowly through the rest of the week, and next week, I want you to call each of them and ask to take them out for lunch or dinner. And at lunch or dinner, I want you to just talk to them as people and not try to sell them anything. I know this is the hardest part of this talk right now, but I need you to do that. And I will guarantee you that you will get business. Now, some of you do it. I'm asking you to do it a little more consciously right now, a little more specifically, a little more tactically. You call all of your top 20% clients up. Is everybody getting this? And you say, I'd just like to take you out for lunch. Where do you like to go to lunch? Now, all of your small business owners, all of you have marketing budgets, whether you think you do or not. You spend it on either pens, you know. I'm sure these bring you a lot of high net worth clients. I read his pen. I gave him $500,000. That was the best. The pen did it. It was the pen that did it. It was the pen. It wouldn't have. We're talking about relationships here. So you like it when they call you when they need a new policy or they want to make some changes or they got their 401k to deal with or whatever the case. But do you like them enough to just say, let's go out to lunch. I just want to talk to you and find a little more what's going on. And let's just have lunch and do that. And the only thing you do want to ask them for is advice. And to say, you know, you're a great client. What do you think? Any suggestions that you would give me? And people like to be asked for advice. Why do people like to be asked for advice, Bill? What's the payback when you ask somebody for advice? They feel good that you've asked them for advice. So that's the only thing you do. Otherwise, have a good time. Just enjoy their presence. If they are friends, if you do feel good about them, what a nice thing to do. And watch business grow. Again, I don't ask you to do what I wouldn't do. I want to change the tempo a little bit and talk to you about what I think is one of the critical elements to everything we're talking about here today. And that's us as people. And this word, passion. A lot of you have seen me speak before, so this is repetition, but I find we have to remind ourselves of some of these things. P.S. I don't think I've taught you anything here today. I think I've reminded you of things here today. Yes? Yeah. So a painter gets a bucket of paint, he gets a paintbrush, he gets these walls to paint. At the end of the day, if the paint was on the walls correctly, would he or she get paid? Jason, what do you think? Yes. Would the paint care, would the brush care, would the walls care about the painter's attitude? No. Now, you have a meeting tomorrow with a prospect, a high-value prospect. And you wake up in a kind of Mike Tyson mood. You know what I'm talking about? Those of you who don't follow boxing, this is a man who bit somebody's ear off in the ring. And we all have, I'm a pretty happy person, but some days I wake up and I'm on that side of the bed, so to speak. How successful are you going to be that day? None. You see. Now here's the catch. In other words, sales is the transference of an emotion. When I feel good about doing business with you, I do business with you. You can give 5%, 3%, 2%, blah, 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 blah. Until I feel good about doing business with you, I don't do business with you. True or false? Yeah. See, we justify with logic, but sales is the transference of emotion, and this is the catch here. The catch is very simple. You can't transfer what you don't have. That's why somebody, and there's people in this room right now, I know it, who are making $1 million in this business, and $500,000, and $300,000. Because they have the ability to control their own emotions and the emotions of the person that they're speaking to. And that's why you get paid what you get paid. And that's why the accountant or the painter can't do what you do. Is everybody getting this? And so that becomes the game. And so we have to learn our craft. We have to learn our craft, and not as I did in my early days, and I've been selling since I'm like 7 or something. talk my way out of sales. One of my mentors used to say, you have diarrhea of the mouth, he used to say to me. Knowing when to shut up. Knowing when to say the right thing. Da 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 da. I didn't get it back then. I would still sell. I won the trips and the prizes and everything else, but my craft wasn't where it should be. But it's this emotion feeling. Because have you ever bought something more paid more for something knowing you could get it cheaper somewhere else? Yes or no? Yes. So it wasn't the money. It was how you felt. And it's the same in this world today in the financial industry because of this concept of convergence, that you could buy the product at the bank, you could buy it from your account, you could buy it from an insurance agent, a specialist, a New York Life agent, a Northwestern agent. You can buy it anywhere. Sears didn't they have financial centers? I don't know if they still have them, but they had them in Sears. You could buy them in the supermarket. You could buy an insurance policy. You could buy it over the internet. You become the deciding factor. So how do you do that? How do you stay in state? I want to spend just a couple minutes on it. I wish we had more time. A Dutch physicist in the 16th century, I write about this in 22 Keys. He discovered an amazing phenomenon that two pendulums, regardless of their length and their weight, after a period of time began to swing together. Let me say it again because it's hard to conceive. Two pendulums, regardless of their weight and their length, after a period of time begin to swing together. It was true in the 16th century, and it's true today. And it's a phenomenon called entrainment. It's a phenomenon that science doesn't know why it happens, like a lot of things that science doesn't know why it happens. They don't know why this happens, but they know it happens. And they've identified literally thousands. And if you want to learn more about it, just Google the word entrainment, and you'll see all kinds of great examples of entrainment. That when people, hearts of frogs, when they're next to each other, and they stay next to each other, after a period of time, begin to beat together. Nobody knows why. Then we're really in tune with people, we begin to breathe the same breathing patterns as the person we're with. Nobody knows why. And young women who go to college and they room they room together in college, and I'm not going to finish that one. So we see all kinds of events happen that support this concept of entrainment. So here's my challenge to you today. What are you entraining with to stay in that state where you have the emotion to transfer? Like the Beatles said, the love you give is equal to the love you make is equal to the love you give, or something like that. In other words, what are you putting into your brain? What are you putting into your heart? What are you entraining with? Because if you're entraining with the news, if it leads, it bleeds. You're entraining with the wrong stuff. If you're entraining with the Wall Street Journal, you're entraining with the wrong stuff. If you're entraining with violent movies on TV and in the theaters, you're entraining with the wrong stuff. Are you discerning what you're entraining with? Is everybody following this? And how do I, this is so, don't you find when you entrain, when you surround yourself with the people that are successful, you feel successful, yes? Yes. And when you surround yourself with people that are positive, you feel positive. So the people you surround yourself, we have 5 areas in our life that we have to constantly guard our entrainment with: our mental, our emotional, our spiritual, our physical, and our material structures. And when we entrain those structures with the best possible elements, our life becomes fuller and richer, and we feel better every single day. And this is mechanical almost. You know, I did a little book. I'm going to read a quote out of it before we finish here. And this was for the PBS special. And I said, well, I don't really have any, all my books are industry on how to sell and how to be successful. And they said, well, can you do something for the PBS? If anybody's seen PBS, they give away a book or something. So I did this book called Brilliant Thoughts. An amazing thing happened. I said, well, it'll be a quote book with questions and this type of thing. They said, great, that sounds perfect for our audience. But here's what I found out. I would go into my office in the home, and I would start reading the words of Lao Tzu and the Buddha and Jesus Christ and Groucho Marx and Goethe and all kinds of different characters who said these great, smart, witty things. And then the next day I felt good. It was weird because I would say, why am I feeling good today? There's no reason why I would feel good, but I found that the more I read this stuff, the better I felt. In other words, I wasn't meditating, I wasn't going up on a mountain, I was just reading. I was in training with their thoughts. Fascinating, isn't it? Then I did some study, and I found that is an actual a path to enlightenment according to in the Hindu philosophy. That when you read stuff like this, it's a path. It's a pathway. And so a quote quotes like this from Marianne Williamson. And many of you know this quote, but it's a quote you can hear 8,000 times and never be tired of it. Our deepest fear is that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant and gorgeous and talented and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of the universe. You were born to manifest the glory of the universe that's within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. Whew, man. Don't get no better than that. Don't we forget that? Need reminders, huh? We need reminders sometimes about who we really are. Who we really are, our full potential, because we forget. You're this, you're that, you're somebody, you're nobody. Class or status, in the end, we're all childs of the universe. So where are you getting that entrainment? I want to close with just one more quote and the concept of the greenhouse. To put together the perfect entrainment environment for you, just like a flower in a greenhouse. What is that environment for you? Because your entrainment is not my entrainment. It's yours. And we're each unique. You know, I'm a runner, as you heard in my introduction. I'm a crazy runner. I never recommended running to anybody in my whole life. It's true, even though it's a big part of my life, because it's my thing. It's not your thing. Find your thing. Use your body. Just keep it fit. Attend to it. It's important. But don't entrain with my entrainment. So what is your greenhouse? And I would challenge you to look at what am I entraining with mentally, emotionally, physically, materially, and spiritually? And say, can I tune that up? And I did little things like not watch TV for about a year or two. And I found that was good entrainment. Now I watch a little bit of, I want to watch the playoffs, so I got a TV. That's literally why I got the TV. And I watch a little bit, but not too much. It's bad entrainment. And I'm real careful about what I watch and what I read. And starting off the day with the right reading. And then things start to happen. We start to manifest that vision that I spoke about earlier. Real quick, I want to close with, I said I would mention this probably less than 60 seconds. I can't stay too long, so if you're interested in this, please fill it out and give it to me, because it's for today only, this whole, what I call success kit. And it's got a lot of elements to it, all of my books. Everything, all the books are on CDs, so you can listen to them in the car. Seminar Selling, 22 Keys, Closing the Sale, Sweet Persuasion, the Brilliant Thoughts book, my live music show. PBS special is on tape. Relaxation tapes, the conversation that I referred to before, and that's 2610 value. Today and today only. I love that line, which it's true though, because if you try to get this later, we don't honor. It's $297, 27 shipping and handling, 37 payments. If you're new to the business, I think it comes out to $2 Starbucks a month. I don't want to deny anybody in this room this package. So if you're new, and I know it's dollar to dollar, paycheck to paycheck, rent to rent. So just come up, fill it out, and take the payment plan. And I want to close out with just a couple of ideas here. Let you go to the next speaker. I can give you the best material in the world, but the question is, how committed are you to that one thing that I asked you to take away 59 minutes ago? How committed are you to that one thing? What is your level of commitment? You know, as a runner, I've won a lot of races. I was very competitive when I was younger. Not so much today, except in my age group, but I was right at the front of the pack. And I had a very simple philosophy to win a race. I would find a small race with about 20 people in it, 18 of which had some form of physical disability, which would usually put me in the top 3. That was my philosophy. And found a race like this, standing at the starting line. I get into the race, and I'm running with this, it was a country race. His name was Cy, and Cy and I are running side by side. All of a sudden, this dog came out from behind a house, comes running at us. Cy immediately runs at the dog and punches him in the head. Now, it was a great lesson for me because my greatest record of all in 38 years of running is I've never been bit by a dog. Because I always do what Cy did. And I never actually have to hit them the way Cy did. I just run at the dog. And that's what commitment is. Running at the dog. So if you're new, if you're saying, geez, am I going to be the 2 out of 10 that survive? I want you to run at the dog. If you think, geez, I really have to focus on my sales and marketing efforts, I have to tune into that, I want you to run at the dog. If you think, boy, I need to entrain better, I have to really be conscious, I have to be more discerning about what I entrain with, because how happy I am and how good I feel is based on what I entrain with, then I want you to run at the dog. And you will never get bit by the dog if you run at the dog. Great quote by D.H. Murray. He said, until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there exists one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one commits oneself, then providence moves too. He goes on, a whole stream of events issues from the decision to make a commitment, raising into its favor all manner of incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. In other words, when we make a commitment here, and we make a commitment here, to whatever it is, business, personal, whatever it is, it happens out there, and we can't even say how it's going to happen. In fact, if you look at those 3 names I asked you to write down, you probably didn't actually even do something to get them, they just happened. And that's how we meet our wife, our husband, the house, and the other things. But the commitment is there. We ran at the dog, and it happens. Close with one last quick story. So I'm doing this talk a while ago, and I said, if you have a big enough why, you don't have to worry about how. So a woman comes up to me, she says, well, I think I understand what you mean, but I'm not quite sure. I say, okay, what's your name? She says, Mary. I say, okay, Mary, I have a board this wide, this thick, it's a couple of 100 feet long, I'm laying it on the ground. How much would I have to give you to walk across the board? And she says, I don't know. I would walk across the board. I say, I'll take the same board this wide, this thick, couple of 100 feet long. I'm going to raise it about 4 feet. How much would I have to give you to walk across the board? She goes, $20. She got cute. I said, okay. So I take the board this wide, this thick, a couple of 100 feet long. I'm going to stretch it across Niagara Falls. You're at one end, I'm at the other. How much would I have to give you to walk across the board? She goes, but Paul, I goes, at 2,000. She said, no. I said, 200. I said, 2 million. She said, Paul, I'm not walking across the board, no, across Niagara Falls, this wide, this thick, for all the money in the world. I said, okay, you're at that end, I'm at this end. Do you have any kids? She says, yeah, a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old. Okay, I got one of your kids by the legs, like this, hanging over the edge. I say to you, Mary, if you don't walk across the board right now, I let go of the kid. Now what would you do? She turned, she looked, and she said, depends which kid. As the father of a teenager, I know exactly what she meant. Guys, last prayer I want you to make. We had a great introduction today, a prayer introduction. I'm going to give you another prayer. If you want more of anything, you must pray. And you must pray this prayer that I'm going to give you right now. And I don't care if you're agnostic, if you hate God, if whatever your relationship, your religion, here's the prayer that we all have to pray every single day. It goes like this. Thank you. Thank you for this body that works still. Thank you for my friends in my life that support me, that don't judge me. Thank you for my family that love me and I love them. Thank you for the relationships of this business that have afforded me a lifetime of wonderment. Thank you for the opportunity to help other people through selling financial products and services. Thank you for NAIFA for being here, for the incredible support, the tireless, the officers, the boards that put these things together, the Maheshes and all the other folks here that work so hard. Thank you for giving us this. Didn't they give us something? Thank you that my mind is clear today. It works. It's sharp. Thank you. Just today, thank you, because I don't know what tomorrow. Thank you that I can feel and I can cry and I can laugh, and isn't that a gift? Just that alone. Thank you. So much to be thankful for. Whatever you want more of, we say thank you. 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 Thank you so much for having me here today, guys. I'll see you later.